Picture this for a second. It's 2001.
Pizza Hut pizza. Just $8.99.
Making an exciting cake with my buddy Crow.
Hey,
Dark Angel.
I get data-free. I will make a bigger sound.
AOL Instant Messenger is at the height of its popularity. Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings have just become film franchises. Everybody's pretending to like Linkin Park for some reason. And, nothing else I can think of in 2001. You're staring out of the backseat of your mom's car on the way to the mall. Your ears are hugged by busted headphones, your fingers fiddling with the aux cable where it jacks into your MP3 player. You occasionally manage to provoke a burst of music to break containment from just one ear. It was basically my generation's version of fixing the antenna on your TV. There's nothing much to look at outside the car window at first, just highway and grass. But after about 20 minutes or so, in the distance, you see a small lake of metal car roofs glinting in the sunlight. Vehicles huddled together in an outdoor lot, left to bake in the summer heat. You park, and the walk from the car to the mall's entrance is brutal. The sun beats down on your neck and radiates off the open tarmac around you. It's so hot, you can feel the heat of the asphalt warming up the soles of your canvas shoes. You know the ones. And then finally, you walk inside to a sudden blast of air conditioning, cocooning your body as you step into a cathedral of noise and color and comparison shopping. The motherfucking mall. I gotta say, back in the day, it was pretty cool. But, it was okay. It was fine. At any rate, cut to 2026, a full quarter century later, and the mid-tier suburban mall is considered to be dead along with its culture. And, in a certain sense, it is. Something like 25 to 35% of all malls have closed, and projections indicate that up to 87% of all remaining large malls will close within the coming decade. They're bleeding money. And the mall culture of the 90s and early 2000s has long since faded into memory, no longer reflected in our understanding of our present selves or the way that we socialize. But, I don't know. Maybe it should be. The suburban mall may be dead, but it also lives on in weird ways. It's like a ghost haunting the country's bloodstream. It takes possession of things, entire places even, and it does so alongside a pattern that's repeated itself many times before, and will again, over and over and over, until we finally get it right. But I try. Look, I think the premise stands on its own. The internet's been giving off dead mall vibes for a while now. I'm fully aware it's gotten kind of cringe to say, oh man, the internet used to be different, but I'm not talking about the early era. I'm talking 3 years ago. A lot's been said about the dying of the internet, but I think we're actually finally here. So let's call it time of death, whenever it is you're watching this. I don't know, maybe it was always gonna end this way. The logical conclusion of late stage content, because that's where we're at right now. Late stage content, and it's fucking boring and artless, and I hate it. Just look at your homepage and tell me with a straight face that shit doesn't look simultaneously over and underwhelming. Scrolling through the internet can feel like sorting through junk mail. This very app is a noisy collection of colors and faces and titles. It's literally a miracle you clicked on this video. I am not good at marketing myself. Of course, the internet is still full of cool stuff. Obviously it is. I'm here. But the cool stuff is fading from view. The death of the internet is a lot like the death of the mall in that it's not really dead, it's just not really alive anymore either. You know what? Let me get you up to speed with what I mean. Don't worry, it'll be quick. My attention span is just as shot as yours. The father of the modern shopping mall was a socialist. Victor Gruen was an Austrian immigrant who fled his home country in 1938 after the Nazis invaded. He quickly made a name for himself as an architect in America and secured a contract in 1954 to design a shopping center for Dayton's department stores. 2 years later in Edina, Minnesota, the Southdale Shopping Center was opened to the public, the world's first fully enclosed, climate-controlled, car-accessible mall. It had all the features you'd come to expect of a modern mall. There were shops, escalators, a food court, little rides for kids, a giant fountain, and of course, The whole thing was anchored financially around a flagship department store, in this case, Dayton's. But this wasn't what Gruen initially planned. Gruen's vision was that the Southdale Mall would be at the literal center of a new type of district in suburbia. The mall, aside from hosting shops and restaurants and cafes, was supposed to be surrounded by schools, apartments, a post office, a medical center, a library, and even a park with a lake. He wanted to build a walkable, Vienna-style downtown for the American suburbs, a place designed for people to meet, socialize, have fun, and have access to not just luxuries, but basic needs and resources. Things did not work out as planned. The developers saw no need for all the life-affirming bells and whistles. Instead, they held on to their unused acreage until property values were driven up, and then either sold it off to low-density housing or overexpanded their centers. Gruen would later call shopping malls bastard developments that destroyed American cities, and vehemently disowned his legacy as their creator. Cut to 1999, and information analyst Darcy DiNucci introduces the concept of Web 2.0, a then-emerging version of the internet that emphasized user-generated content and interactivity. Basically, the internet as we know it today, almost 30 years later. She said that the web will be understood not as screenfuls of text and graphics, but as a transport mechanism, the ether through which interactivity happens. It will appear on your computer screen, on your TV set, your car dashboard, your cell phone, handheld game machines, maybe even your microwave oven.
Control your microwave oven with your smart device.
Over the next 7 years, 2.0 was confidently ushered in by entities like AOL, MySpace, Newgrounds, eBaum's World. Even as late as 2006, optimism about the internet's direction was at an all-time high. Time magazine's Person of the Year was literally you. In the cover story, Lev Grossman wrote that the World Wide Web was a story about the many wresting power from the few and helping one another for nothing, and how that will not only change the world, but also change the way the world changes. The internet, in its transformation to 2.0, was self-imagined as a big, idealized town square, a place for people to meet and explore, hang out, access information, and go shopping, of course. But now, the internet is a collage of cartoonish sound, color, and fury. Darcy DiNucci's ether of interactivity is more like an ether of oversaturation. Online, everything is inconveniently convenient. Convenient shopping, gambling, sex, validation, morality, background noise. I mean, it's the perfect attention sink. Sometimes there's art and laughter and connection, and that can be nice. But generally speaking, everybody's engaged, but vanishingly few people are having a good time. Why have things turned out this way? Well, it's because the internet adopted the same strategy as the shopping mall in order to sustain itself economically. The shopping mall, at the height of its popularity, began to move to its own version of Web 2.0. It mutated into, well, the industry term is integrated resorts. Integrated resorts are shopping malls that also include lodging, retail, fast food and fine dining, entertainment venues, convention facilities, and, crucially, instead of a flagship department store, an extensive and robust flagship casino at their center, all under one fully enclosed, climate-controlled, car-accessible location. They're also informally called casino hotels or casino resorts, and they're the defining feature of places like Atlantic City and the Vegas Strip. Essentially, these are malls that shifted to an environment designed less around exploration and more toward retention, closed ecosystems, data collection, monetization, microtransactions, macrotransactions, and controlled flow. Does that sound familiar? Integrated resorts use design strategies to eliminate easy access to exits so that you stay as long as possible, while also discouraging lingering without engagement. Part of that approach is to overwhelm and overstimulate you in any way possible, to make you completely lose track of time, and to closely monitor your behavior to exploit you. They try to provide everything you'll need in one location so you'll never have to leave, and anything social or communal is incidental, but still crucial because it's their main selling point. This should definitely be sounding familiar to you now because this obviously also describes the internet as it stands today. The internet feels dead for other reasons too. One of them is because in videos like these, guys like me go on to explain a concept you've heard 1,000 times before. The dead internet theory is a theory that states... Just kidding. But yeah, no, the dead internet theory is real for sure. A recent expose published in Vulture essentially proved it. The article details the activity of a now defunct, very shady marketing agency called Floodify that manufactured virality online. But it did so at a scale previously unheard of. At its height, it was operating something like 65,000 dummy social media accounts, making 50,000 posts a day, and working with all major record labels, big political campaigns, celebrities, influencers, movie studios, consumer products, everything. That's not so surprising, but these sock puppet accounts weren't shitty bots. They were startlingly real, shockingly authentic looking. But the truly big kicker is that Joe Lim, the founder of the company, estimated that about 90% of what you see online is paid advertisement in disguise, virtually undetectable. From Justin Bieber to Jake Paul to SNL skits to popular fads, to Andrew Tate to trending products, major conspiracy theories, all manner of discourse, big and small. It's all been bought and paid for and marketed to us through clipping and astroturfed comments on every social media platform. Every trend, every viral hot take, manufactured. If Joe Lim's estimation is anywhere close to correct, then the vast majority of cultural and political output on the internet is inorganically popular. Literally, any vertical video that's doing numbers, along with any posts sharing those videos, is suspect. But to be honest, I don't think anyone needed the scandal to tell them what they already know in their gut. You can feel it when you scroll, right? Over 6 billion users on the internet, but it feels hollow because it's lousy with non-human decisions and discourse on a loop. The difference between the internet even a few years ago and now is like, well, it's like night and day. When you're in a dead mall, you know it because it's basically empty. There are so few people around. It's visually understood. And while the internet isn't evidently dead from a lack of traffic, it gives me the same sense of emptiness all the same. I think that's because instead of a lack of activity, there's so much of it it may as well be frozen. Just a massive, inhuman crowd obscuring real people and their soulful creations, like a swarm of locusts manufacturing consent with the hum and buzz of their collective skittering, literally weaving a worldwide web. And I'm sort of mixing metaphors here, because like one's locusts, and I don't think they do webs, but you get it. And it bears repeating what I said earlier. All the good stuff is still here, which is like kind of like the internet's saving grace. But even so, human creators are following trends set by algorithms, set by dummy accounts, racing toward homogeneity and the lowest common denominator. So even authentic content feels robotic, cybernetic ping pong. The algorithm learns from bots, learns from algorithm, learns from bots, learns from the algorithm. Except, supercharge it with AI. Put all of this together and you just can't trust anything you see on the internet anymore. Yeah, except for maybe long-form videos like this one, and even then, you can only really trust that I'm an actual person, not that what I'm saying is necessarily true. The result of all of this is profoundly boring. I'm bored and desensitized. And since the internet has morphed from a place to an ether that's been seamlessly infused into daily life and politics, the fact that it's a humanless snooze fest kind of warps your ideas and what's possible between people, like, change or revolution or love. All things that, in order to be sustainable, require relationships. Relationships are all we really have. And, we have so few nowadays. It's just what happens when you seek to understand the world through a medium that barrages you with an overwhelming amount of unrelated information. It's psychological immobilization by way of a surplus of attention. Your brain just can't latch on to anything. You're left to make sense of a world where everything is just one non sequitur after the next. Atlantic City was built in 1850 as a beach resort town. And by the end of the century, it quickly became one of the most popular vacation spots in the entire country. But in the 1950s, tourism dropped due to the construction of new highways and the introduction of cheap air travel. Jobs dried up, buildings went into disrepair, and poverty increased. So in 1976, in order to revitalize the economy, New Jersey legalized gambling, and enormous integrated resorts were built along the boardwalk.
A totally new dimension in entertainment is only a bus ride away in the new Atlantic City.
Economically speaking, things didn't go as planned. In fact, after an initial economic boost that quickly gave way to a steep decline, all it did was help locally accelerate an increasing trend in the American economy that also started in the year 1976, an ever-widening income and wealth gap. You know, the thing that movies and TV shows always get wrong about casinos is that no one ever actually smiles. There are tons of people gambling their money in tons of different ways. Some winners, mostly losers. Everyone's engaged, but no one's having a good time. Well, almost no one.
Why didn't you write me? Why? It wasn't over for me. I waited for you for 7 years.
I wrote you every day for a year.
Once upon a time, kissing in the rain was a very popular cinematic trope. But with the decline of the Hollywood rom-com, its prominence as a cultural symbol has waned. I'm lucky enough to have experienced it a handful of times in my life, and let me tell you, it is actually the best. There's something undeniable about the electricity that's produced by life imitating art. People romanticize a lot of things, especially on the internet, but the vibe on the ground feels like extolling the virtues of romantic love on social media would fall a little flat this day and age. I mean, this is kind of like our disillusionment era, right? App fatigue, dating reality shows, self-optimization, just bro podcasts all the way down. Movie releases are more likely to deconstruct modern relationships or engage in a more overtly heightened, ethereal fantasizing rather than give us romance with a straight face anymore. There are, of course, exceptions to the rule. And don't get me wrong, romance was always presented to us as a fantasy version of itself. But there used to be a real sense that Hollywood love stories were a mythology describing something that was nevertheless very real and important. Love was a force to respect. It could drive politics, save your life, save your soul, change the world. Generally speaking, love was more commonly recognized, or at least discussed, as important beyond the individual personal level. It was a higher thing to service, a reason to live, or to fight, or to die. Love stories have always had conflict in them, and that's what makes them stories, but modern love stories seem fraught and beleaguered to me. I don't know, maybe it's more than disillusionment. Maybe life just isn't very romantic anymore. I mean, doom scrolling alone can make something like Happily Ever After ring pretty hollow. Modern love feels way more like Sex, Lies, and Videotape than Notting Hill. I guess what I'm trying to say is it may actually be genuinely harder to find magic in the world these days, which, by the way, is what the mall and the internet were initially idealized to help us do. Now, why am I talking about romance and the decline of love stories? Because maybe all these little simulations we built with magic in mind, the internet, the mall, romantic comedies and dramas, maybe they're all dying because they were never simulating anything real to begin with. You know, going to a mall in their heyday felt like community. I mean, you knew it was all about shopping and that it was sort of like a theme park version of the town square, but it was a microcosm of something real, right? And the internet at its peak pretty much felt the same. It was also clearly a simulated version of a town square. We knew it wasn't the real world, but it was a digital version of something real. The all-inclusive boardwalk casino resort wasn't ever about community, but it was about believing in opportunity, about beating the odds even when they're stacked against you, an arcade version of the American dream. And love stories, well, I mean, they were just movies, smoke and mirrors. But they felt like love. We've been going to these fantasy worlds to believe that they're cute little imitations of something real, obviously fake, but nonetheless shadows on the wall cast by something tangible and solid. So maybe that's why it feels so fucked up to go to a dead mall, or to scroll on the dead internet, or watch that awful Sydney Sweeney rom-com that's too self-aware of its own tropes to be sincere. The simulation is no longer giving you the sense that there's something real outside of it anymore. You're too aware that it's not copying reality like it's always pretended to. The spell is broken with a sinking feeling. This forgery doesn't represent anything that exists. This copy has no original. Fuck. I mean, that's a dark thought.
You know what love is? Love is an illusion created by lawyer types like yourself to perpetuate another illusion called marriage, to create a reality of divorce and the illusionary need for divorce lawyers.
You're just pissed off and bitter because you have not had sex in how long? What is it, a year, maybe 2 years? Refresh my memory, please, Kevin. Haven't you ever heard of the sexual revolution?
Who won, huh? Nobody. Used to be sex was the only free thing. No longer. Alimony, palimony, it's all financial. Love's an illusion.
It's the only illusion that counts, my friend.
Says who?
Anyone who's ever been in love.
In the 5 miles of Atlantic City's famous boardwalk, there's only one spot that sizzles, the Tropicana. You hear it, see it, feel it, taste it. Come experience it. Tropicana, where every second sizzles.
My wife and I had tickets to a show in Atlantic City. The plan was to get a room nearby and make a night of it before driving back home the next morning. So we booked a place by the boardwalk close to the venue called the Tropicana, one of the many casino resorts that have become the defining feature of the area. The show was great. We actually had to run along the boardwalk at night in the freezing rain to get there on time, and after we got back, we decided to wander around the casino before bed. And honestly, 10 out of 10 decision. The Tropicana was enveloping, a proud, monumental answer to the question, what if a shopping mall did several lines of cocaine? There were themed bars and restaurants and retail, all in a multi-level concourse surrounding a giant casino floor in the center that was also very maze-like. There's even an area that's mocked up to look like you're outside when you're inside, which is itself a replica of a similar area in one of Vegas's casinos. Just copies of copies everywhere. There's also an arcade, very racist slot machines, like cartoonishly racist. It's very weird. And these machines are in every single casino in America. And I guess no one's talking about it because, no one's there to gamble locally. So, point is, there's a lot to be cynical about in the Tropicana. But, we started wandering and life started to imitate art. The night sort of felt like a cross between the Before trilogy and Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. The Before trilogy, if you don't know, is a suite of films that are just achingly beautiful and perfectly capture what it's like to have a magical time with someone on a date. And Harold and Kumar is,
Remember that time we got really stoned and started throwing shit off that bridge to see if it would float?
We stumbled drunkenly across marble floors, the sound of our laughter and heavy footsteps reverberating across the faces of storefronts slowly shuttering for the night. We shared drinks in an attached country-themed bar playing some Margaritaville-ass songs, but I don't know, her face was washed in red and golden light, and all the cheesiness of the music just melted away, and what was left wistfully surrounded the moment like a halo. We then proceeded to share the world's worst salted pretzel and sat at the fountain in the center of the concourse, spiked slushies in hand, watching people shuffle by in their melancholic daze. I don't know, man, the entire night, it kind of felt like kissing in the rain. And the thing is, no one goes to casinos to believe in romance. You don't go to the Tropicana to fall in love. I mean, some people stay so long in front of their slot machine that they soil themselves. Just trust me when I say that every single casino in existence smells like cigarettes and bleach. There's not an ounce of sexiness to behold in them. So what does it mean that two people can have a beautiful time in a dying replica of the American dream? Not a fun time, not a fuck it, the world is ending, so let's party time. A beautiful time. Because your sense of what's possible, what's real, can change slowly without you noticing it. Your surroundings can and will subtly mold you, and if you're in a place that's hostile to the better parts of humanity, they will mold you toward nihilism and cynicism, severing your emotional and spiritual nerve endings. Unless you... When I talk about the internet being dead, my point isn't that it's now worthless or unusable or that you should never be on it. I mean, firstly, that would be very silly of me. I mean, this is a video on the internet, and I'd obviously like it if you subscribed and all that stuff because, I don't want to just be a voice in the dark. But secondly, what I am saying is that the internet is now actively hostile to the things that are redeemable about humans. Art, cooperation, empathy, curiosity, creativity, and, as corny as it may sound, love. As such, behave accordingly. It's hostile to those things because that's what happens when you monetize automated curation, which is the dominant economic model for just about everything right now. Malls, social media, streaming services, dating apps, integrated resorts, healthcare, you name it. Actually, that last example is especially illuminating. Platforms and insurance companies both suck for the same reason, because they're basically the same things. They both gate access to the thing you're trying to get to and determine how much it's going to cost, what the quality of it will be, and how much will be available to you. Not as a way to help you navigate toward attaining a human necessity, but to throttle and bottleneck that necessity at the highest price for the lowest quality. The internet is a dying mall, but it's also just United Healthcare. And dealing with insurance is a great way to forget what adequate treatment looks and feels like. And the mall is a great way to forget what actual community looks and feels like. And the internet is a great way to forget what love looks and feels like. I really do believe that. In a hostile environment like the internet, how do you talk about something like romance? You can make it into a problem, or you can make it about yourself. That one is really popular. You can give relationship advice to varying degrees of quality, and you can make it political. Actually, it's very popular to do all of those at once. And it's especially common for people to take a good bit of wisdom, like don't force yourself to stay in a bad relationship, and then turn it into insane takes, like never compromise. You don't owe your partner anything. Love is hard. It's not really love. Your partner has to love all of your flaws. The bad advice is endless. It drives me fucking nuts. But ultimately, on the internet, it doesn't really matter what your take is on something like love or relationships, because if you engage with a hostile environment on its own terms, and in the case of the internet, it's viral discourse, you're never going to find what you're looking for. So I say reject the terms. Use technology inappropriately. Go to the comment section and be unnervingly charitable to the people you disagree with. Get a FetLife account and look for vanilla sex. Start a YouTube channel and permanently confuse the algorithm. I personally did that last one by accident. But probably the best advice I have to give is to go to a casino. And instead of gambling, watch it all from a fixed point on the edge of a fountain with someone you love, and laugh at it all. The animated dead things that surround us can only make us forget what's possible if we let them get too close. I guess what I'm saying is, wherever you decide to go, forget your umbrella at home and wait for a kiss in the rain.
Qu'on apprenne à s'aimer autrement, elle fout la mort. Je fous de savoir qui a raison ou a tort. Quand j'y suis fou d'elle, elle m'a coupé alors. Tous tes doutes à la poubelle, mi-à mort. On se tient pendant des heures, oh des heures. Prise de tête pendant des heures.